Hi, internet. Let's just get straight to the statistics. Total active immersion is 471 and a half hours. If we look at like from last month, that would be about, I think, what was that, like 60 hours? So probably on average, I spend 2 hours a day active immersing. Passive immersion is higher than that, as I think most people. I decided not to track my passive immersion because it isn't really learning anything. Like, I've read a couple websites, which I'm about to talk in the later part of this video, about passive immersion and listening while you're sleeping. The consensus on people who have actually reached a certain high level of fluency is that it's bullshit. But in my opinion, like if you're just starting out, that could make sense, and you can get used to the sound of the language, and it can help you tolerate ambiguity. It can help you decipher the intonations and the how the phonemes, how the language sounds. So, but like if you're not a beginner, like there's no point doing, listening to the language while you're asleep. And for passive immersion in general, I think it's not important if you don't understand it. So, I mean, the majority of my passive immersion are from shows that I've watched, and radio shows too. They're really short. I always search the one that are like Kwango Sakje, or can't remember what it's called. Pyeonjip, yeah, whatever that stuff. Like, so the ads and the music, because usually like when you just start listening to radio shows, like the first 15 minutes, the guest hasn't showed up, and it's just filled with ads. So yeah, if you delete all of those ads and the music, even the music that the guest would sing, it's usually less than an hour, the actual portion of the radio shows that they're talking. Anyway, so that's the statistics, 471 hours. And then the total sentence cards that I've mined is 3,217, with an average of 35 per day. Although the past 4 days, I have dropped it down to 30, because 35 and 30 doesn't make that much of a difference. And if you could make less sentence card and focus more on immersing, would be better. And I put it at 30, which is really high. Even if you're not a beginner, like I guess 15 or 20 is like already really good. You don't need to do 30. But for me, because I started sentence mining on my own, like actually sentence mine from stuff that I immersed in without using a pre-made deck, I did it a bit late, around 7 months, 6 months, definitely more than half a year before I started sentence mining on my own. So yeah, I just want to like catch up a little bit on that. So that would make my total sentence cards that I've ever done around 7,068, with a little bit of cards that I deleted, and there are some vocab cards from pre-made decks and stuff like that. It's not that important. So now let's move on to comprehension and the things that I've noticed during my immersion. I've noticed more. I don't think there's that like pretty huge margin of difference in my comprehension since like last month, because you don't really see it in the long term. And even Stephen Krashen on his lectures, at least the one that I can find on YouTube and that I've watched, he said that the language acquisition, as opposed to learning the language, when you actually learn something, you don't notice it. And that might be the case, and I hope that's the case. If I don't improve, that would have sucked. So yeah, I don't really notice that much of a difference in my comprehension. Although, because I watch a lot of drama, the past 2 weeks, I've started watching drama again. I can understand more of the plot than previously. And these are like 1.5 hour drama, not like web drama, because previously I've watched web drama. I think like the last drama that I watched was, well, actually I watched It's Okay to Not Be Okay, Psychochiman Kancana, and I can understand the plot, but now if I probably watch it again, I can understand the plot more. So yeah, that's really cool. The majority of the things that I'm immersing from the past month is still the same. I mostly listen to radio shows. These days I listen to Heiju Ilki, which is a radio show in Naver now, which is from Naver, because Naver has everything. And the host is Heiju. I like her songs, and it's like alternate Korean music. You know, it's not like the mainstream K-pop where you dance and stuff like that, and it's really catchy. But no, it's like some actual stuff, some like deep shit. So yeah, I like listening to her. And I also watch drama. I'm currently watching 2 drama right now. The first one is Hush. It's just literally Hush, Hush. One of the main actor is Sonyosite Yuna, Girls' Generation. I don't know why I watch it. It's just that that's free, and I can watch it for free with no ads because I use an ad blocker. I watch it on Iki, IQIYI. The website is iq.com. I can watch it for free because I'm from Southeast Asia, and like if you're one of the, like I saw someone on Discord, like you can't access it from like United States, like you have to sign up and stuff like that. I don't have to sign up. I can watch all of them. There are subtitles, but I don't use subtitles obviously. And yeah, I can watch it for free. So I only watch that because Corlings got banned, which is like this basically a streaming website where you can watch stuff. It's probably illegal, even though the website on Corlings, before they got banned, they said that we do not host any of the stuff that you can watch. We just collect the as opposed to link. But yeah, since that website got banned, I have no idea how I'm gonna watch a drama without having to download it because I don't have Netflix. So yeah, it's really cool, and I watch it on Iki. And the other drama that I'm watching right now is 부부의 세계, which is couple world, the world of couple, married couple. I think the official English translation is a world of the married or something like that. I watched that because I was scrolling to YouTube, right? And I saw this like an ad. I think it's an ad for a magazine. And the woman in the ad is so pretty. So I googled it. And how I, say it is from the description probably, or like from the YouTube comments. The actress name is Han So-hye, and I googled her Namu Wiki, which is like this Korean Wikipedia, which is weird because the server of the Namu Wiki is actually in Argentina or something. It's weird. Anyway, it's not related. So I look at her, what do you call it, cinematography, and she played in one of these drama called, like that I just mentioned, 부부의 세계. And then coincidentally, I was also looking for like the highest rated Korean drama. Click, and then number 1 is A World of the Married, and so I've been watching it. It's a freaking blast. It's so good. I'm not really into like Korean drama, was because the fact that they're so shallow, I guess. They're not really varied, and I don't really like the cheesy stuff. Like the last time I watched a drama before Psychojiman Kanchana, because Psychojiman Kanchana is really good. Like the first 3 episodes, I guess, is like really mind-blowing. It's so good, right? And so Yeji is really pretty, so it's just entertaining. But I think drama before that I watched was, one of them is like Itaewon Class. Itaewon Class is really good in the first like half of the number of episodes. We like the first 7 or 8 episodes, but the ending is shit. It's so bad. The ending is so bad, and it's so weird. And another drama that I watched before that, which was Ingan Zuap, which is, it's on Netflix, I think, but I don't watch it on Netflix. I downloaded it from torrent. It's also really good. It's like crime, teenager stuff, murder case. So it's really good. And I think like if I don't watch a drama that's like having like this really good like mystery type of shit, I won't be interested. One of the premise for refold or immersion based learning is that you have to be interested, and you're supposed to enjoy the language. You're not learning for passing an exam. Like you're not learning to pass the TOEIC exam for Korean, let's say. And you're not racing with anyone. Like if you want to get good, you could, I guess, compete with someone, like compare a result. Hey, I've read 15 books, and then like aim for more books. That must be a good thing. But like, it's more like, how much are you willing to spend in the language? Because even if you spend like 6 hours a day, like you could really do that. Technically, if you're like a student or something, you would still need a year, and that would only cover like basic fluency in not fluency, basic comprehension in like maybe 80% ish in like the thing that you watch, which would most likely be, you know, like drama or like YouTube vlogs or like some TV shows. But getting it to like a really good fluency and comprehension is pretty hard if you don't read, which is hard to read if you don't enjoy it. So yeah, that's just my some little opinion. On books, I am currently reading Vitamin Hangugo the fifth. Like probably I said that last month, but actually I haven't read a lot of books because it's not interesting. And other than Vitamin Hangugo 5, I read Solharu 배우는 한국어, which is learning Korean through folktales. I got it from Z Library and stuff. You know how it goes. And yeah, I've only read like the first page. I'm really not interested in reading. I don't even read webtoons. Unlike a couple of months ago. I think like a couple of months ago, webtoon was my primary source for sentence cards, but I haven't done that in a while. These days, I just mine from YouTube. You know, randomly, I watch a lot of like clips of On and Off on YouTube. It's a TV show from like a channel like Digo, whatever that channel is, and I can just take a screenshot and type the sentences, you know, based on my hearing, which most of them are correct, because Korean TV shows have, what do you call it, like pop-up words. So yeah, and I also mine sentences from the Routledge book, the 5,000 frequency list, but I have a deck form. I got it from Discord, and that's what I use. Yeah, sorry if I sound weird. It's 2 a.m. right now. Anyway, next is my thoughts on Immersion as I'm closing into 1 year. And I really want to address this, like, I guess not to preach ideas. I don't really care about that, but I don't know, I just want to get this out there. I was reading the entire website, I read every page on the LearnjapaneseMOE, which is a really good website. I agree with a lot of points that Shoei, the author of the website, wrote. One of the points that really struck to me is that she said that 80% comprehension can be reached in less than 1 year, and I think most people who really do these like ACAT or like listening to the language 24/7, doing passive immersion, reading, doing active immersion and stuff like that, can really get like basic fluency in just less than a year. I mean, I can't imagine doing it again. Like, not that I don't want to do it. I mean, I don't want to do it with other languages right now. Why would I want to learn 2 languages at once? But for I remember just how hard it is. Like, I can't imagine that people, you know, when they're starting learning language, you don't know how to read Hangul. So yeah, it's really true in my opinion. I think especially if you had spent more time than me. I mean, in 10 months, I've only spent like almost 500 hours. If you include passive immersion, then probably that number is 1,000. But even then, you know, with just these numbers, which is really small, like 2 hours a day. I mean, most people. I personally touch my phone more than 6 hours a day. I think most people touch their phones more than that. You know, if you just spend an hour, which is really small, it's gonna take like 20 years. But, you know, it's still better than nothing. Like, if you spend an hour actively immersing in a language, you're gonna make progress. But obviously, most people who follow this immersion method, most of them can spend more than 2 hours. So, yeah, it's really not that hard to get like basic fluency. The problem is that the curve is so steep. So, I'm gonna quote her here, and this is one of the questions that she has on her frequently asked questions section on her website. So, the question is, how many words do I need to know to understand everything? And she said, around 3,000. You may think, but with 2,000, I can understand 80%. Yeah, but it gets very steep after that.
10,000 is around 98%, 20,000 is around 99%, and 30,000 is like 99.9%, because I cannot guarantee that you can understand 100% with 30,000, but it is definitely a good number to aim for. I don't understand everything in English, so is it really worth the endeavor? That is your decision. So it's really true. I mean, personally, English is not my native language, if that's not obvious already. It took me like 5 years to be able to understand anything that I hear on YouTube. I think I only find new vocab in English when I read books and when there's a new slang. Like for example, the no cap, that's a new slang, right? The base is a new slang that I found. You know, like someone said something and then you said base, you know, that's pretty new in my opinion. I think I've discovered that in the last 6 months, 8 months. So yeah, and I read English books every single day. So that's just to add on that argument, I guess, because even most of the books that I read, like I usually finish a book in less than 16 days, 14 to 16 days is one book. I've only been doing this for about a year. I started reading books every single day in 2019 because I got inspired for some like weird productivity YouTube videos. And it isn't that hard. I only read about 20 minutes a day. And I don't know, I'm just saying this because this has nothing to do with Korean, but like I can imagine, you know, like this has to be true because like maybe in most books I only get less than 100 words. That could be because I only read non-fiction. I have never actually read. I have quite a few. I've read all of Sherlock Holmes books, which are written in what, 19th century, 20th century, and there's a lot of words. And I've read like some English classics. It's actually French, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and stuff like that. Alice in the Wonderland. That's a lot of words that I don't know. But it's not relevant because the book is like really old, you know, and you don't talk with those words in like real life. If you talk to someone, you know, a native speaker of English from some English-speaking majority country. So I think that has to be the same case with Korean, you know, because even in English I cannot talk. Even in English I cannot like read some psychology journal, like an article in computer science or a textbook in, I don't know, astronomy. I couldn't even talk about politics in English because I don't understand how it works in like Western politics, I guess. You know, like let's say they have talked about like Republican and Democrat and all that stuff. Like I do not have the, what do you call it, common sense, I guess. Here a lot of people, mostly in the Japanese community, that 10,000 words and JLPTN1 is nothing. It's like intermediate, lower intermediate, you know, because just the language is so huge. Any language, especially language that isn't close to your native language, like Korean. Like Korean is really different from my native language, so or a language that I'm pretty good at, like English. So it has to be true. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you this picture right now. So as you can see, the 40,000. That's what most native speakers know. Like 40,000, 45,000 words. That's a lot of words. Like, gotta be honest with you, that's a lot. And to add to that, even in the refold website, you know, they don't like recommend reading novels, I guess. Like being able to read novels are not the priority in the language. The things that they focus on are just TV shows and slice of life drama and movies, because I think even Matt himself, you know, he don't put that as a thing that matters, because most people, when they think about being fluent in the language, is that you're able to talk to natives with no problem, and you can understand, and you can read, and you can write and type, obviously, in the native language with no problem. So if you really, you know, let's say you're learning Japanese and you're really into anime, then as long as you can understand anime, then I guess your goal is accomplished, you know? I mean, you're not gonna learn, probably, most likely, most people won't learn Japanese so that they can read the latest discovery in astronomy in Japanese from like University of Japan or something like that, you know? So I guess if you put yourself really up there and want to be as fluent as native speaker, you're gonna kill yourself. Because even Matt himself, he said that like it's a dumb idea. I think striving to be better every day is a better thing to do than saying that you want to be as fluent as a native. Personally, I don't care. I think I would love to have a good accent, but at the end of the day, as long as I can like, you know, watch what I want to watch without having to look up. Maybe like once a week I have to look up something in a dictionary. That would be really cool. It's just what I do in English, probably. Yeah, that's, I guess, my opinion on that. Because
I feel like you don't want to go into a part of learning the language where you just hate continuing because like you're not getting better or you don't reach a certain goal that you put it yourself. Because I mean, with modern medicine, most people is going to live 80 years old. So I'm really young. I'm still in high school, so I have like what 60 years, 70 years of my life in front of me. Like no matter how bad and no matter how slow and no matter how much I fucked up learning Korean or any target language, you know, and replace the word Korean with any target language that you're learning, you're going to spend the rest of your life like, you know, being able to consume the language and interact with locals if you ever visit the country. Yeah, so let's talk about my goals. So I don't have a specific goal. My most apparent goal would probably be to not quit. I made this update video so that I don't quit. Hopefully in a couple of days I'm back to reading like real stuff. My goal in this year is still to read, is still to get used to and then slowly but surely build comprehension in reading novels that are made for natives. Maybe I'll spend and maybe I will finally willing to spend money to buy books on Ready Books or what was it, the Yes24 or whatever the website that you can buy books. Yeah, so the reason why I'm very hesitant to spend money is I know that in the Japanese community, like honestly, if you are learning Japanese right now, there has never been a time in history where you are very lucky if you're learning Japanese because there's so much resources. I think maybe in like early 2020 before I quit learning Japanese, right? Before I moved to Korean. If I had found the channel that I mentioned, the website that I mentioned, the LearnjapaneseMOE and Itazuraneko, and I think there's one more I forgot, animecards.site. Had I found that website, I would be fluent in Japanese right now. It's been like what, a year plus, because like they offer so many books for free. They offer even the Taikim grammar guide, which is really good. It's like KGIU for Korean, but it's really good, and everyone is recommending that. The people at Itazuraneko, they put it in their own website so that it's more comfortable, so that you don't have to go to the actual website, right? Because the book is actually Creative Commons License 3, so that or something like that, so that you know people can read it for free. Yeah, it's crazy. The Japanese immersion community is so big. It's so good. Hopefully, I can read novel by the end of this year, and every day I can read, I can watch, and keep making sentence cards and keep listening to the language. That's all. There's no end game here, but for now I haven't read quite a while, and I would love to fix that. That's it. That's everything. I'll see you in my 11 months update. Thank you for listening. You know, because I don't know why you would listen to this, because you're supposed to be immersing, but don't forget to keep immersing, because if you don't immerse, which means that if you don't read, if you don't watch, though I have to admit though, even though I can tolerate ambiguity, you know, I'm fine with not understanding. Sometimes if I want to confirm what I understand from pure listening to the drama, I usually skip like I usually go backwards about like 20 seconds, and then I turn on the subtitles just to check if I understood it correctly. And 9 out of 10 times I do that, I always get it right. So I guess I'm happy on that one. Yeah, so thank you for listening. Keep immersing.